Yerevan, by the way, is now at war with us. Now, I'm going to steal this city-state because I want emergencies to go through at this point. An emergency is a good opportunity for basically double production guaranteed. It's really handy. Any emergency that's declared on me at this point is double production for me, as long as somebody else joins in with it, which I'm hoping there are lots of AI who still dislike me enough to want to declare on me. We're now also spreading our religion whilst at war, accidentally, which is pretty cool. I'll take that again. Already we can attack Marseille. Look at that, the diggers are just 100 strength when they're attacking. Just wait until they get promotion number 3. It's going to make them a lot better. And now we have an extra diplomacy slot. When you're at war, one of the best things you can do is check which continents you're on. Normally, eventually, you'll be fighting on a different continent to your own. And actually, with a lot of these cities, they are 1-2 different continents than the ones we're on. My continent, strangely enough, Siberia, is where most people on the map are. That's crazy how big Siberia is compared to everyone else. Actually, no, it's not crazy at all, is it? Siberia is huge, IRL as well. But what I can do is when taking cities over, we can put in colonial offices. Now, this gives me 3 loyalty per turn in any city that I take over, not on my continent. 3 loyalty per turn is enough to generally give you at least 2 to 4 extra turns before a city flips. It makes a big difference. I would always thoroughly recommend picking that card up. You'll see that I'm still focusing very heavily on amenities. When you're at war, having high amenities is a really, really big thing, because low amenities give you loyalty penalties. If I just have a quick look at 7 Brothers, you'll see I'm getting -3 loyalty because this city has -1 amenities. It's a little bit unfortunate. Democracy will help me with that, as well as when I go to professional sports and start picking up things like stadiums. But the problem I've got with Australia is that their high population cities make a huge, huge drain on your amenities. My capital alone requires 13 just to be happy. It's a difficult one to do. So it turns out attacking Scythia is going to be a little easier than I thought it might. It's going to be much easier. We attack from the sea, and look at this digger. That is 102 strength attack from the sea. Bam. The city is taken. It's going to rebel in 4 turns. That effectively is more of a countdown. If I can take other cities around it in 4 turns, we'll be fine. Look, 7 Brothers is now loyal because of the population swing. But this 9 population city that Scythia owns, that's probably the biggest target here, and that's where I'm going to be focusing my efforts to start with. It's always worth, when you're invading, just pressing the Empire lens every now and then. What it does is you can see where wonders are placed on the map. If you're playing with somebody like Macedon, that makes a big difference because you want to see when your troops are going to heal. But for everyone else, it's worth just keeping an eye on where the wonders are, because you might get unexpected little benefits, like pyramids over here will give me another builder charge whenever I build anything. Hagia Sophia lets me spread crusade a little bit more. Taj Mahal I saw before. There's the mausoleum at Harikya-Karnassus, which is always a difficult one for me to say, but that's an extra engineer charge, so my beautiful great engineer that's waiting over by my capital will get 2 charges rather than 1. Hopefully we take this city. We'll see. Yes. Look at that. That's a nice population swing and actually should help keep this city in check. It does. 5.3. Lovely stuff. Yerevan, I think we are going to take it. As I said, I kind of want to trigger that emergency. Feels like a weird thing to say, but I do. Rem has been taken. We've got 2 more cities left in France. Remember where your spy is. This is giving me +3 combat strength against all of French troops, so Nantes I want to take last. We have 8 turns to liberate this city. It's going to be tough, but there are Mongolian units around that can do some damage. So I'm just going to leave my ironclad armada around and see if we can nab the kill. In fact, I do have other units that could start to come into play here, so I'm just going to send some across. Kree have nuclear submarines. Not a problem for us. I'm not too fussed about it. In fact, we've actually got more tech than the Kree, so they have beelined massively to the top of the tree. It's just something to be aware of when we do go for naval battles. They may have nuclear submarines under the surface, causing us very substantial damage. One small problem we have is a bit of coastal flooding. Now, as soon as you start eating into the coal of the world, this might be a little bit of a problem for you. And I've got a few tiles that are being lost. Really, it's nothing I can't live without. I've lost a couple of farms, but that's about it, really. At some point, we'll get computers. It's honestly not the biggest priority for me. I'd rather see the world sink right now and just kind of come back to it later. In fact, I'm still actually building railroads everywhere because, you know, that's what I do in Civ. Railroads, by the way, are incredibly effective, meaning that you can move your troops through your nations really quickly, increasing the power of your trade routes, giving them more gold. I would always recommend it. I know it's become a bit of a meme on the channel, but it's honestly a really, really big deal. I'm also now building research labs in all of my cities. I probably could have done that a few turns earlier, but again, tech it's not a crazy priority for me right now. I can get away with doing other things. One more French city. That leaves them with a single city now, which is pretty good. I also noticed that I'm getting 20% extra modifier for production in all of my cities because of the Warlord's Throne. Once you get into this late stage of the game, yeah, there's a huge amount of extra production to pick up. One city over on the Scythian east coast and on their southern flank at the same time, so we're making decent progress everywhere now. The digger units, I want to keep them moving forward, and as soon as you get open warfare, wabam, it is a really, really good upgrade. Oh, here is ideology. Ideology is a very good card for us. We want to keep liberalism and republican legacy, but now we can put 5-year plan in, which gives us the science and production into one card. Very useful. Total war is a good thing for us, but I'm now going to put in force modernization instead of levy en masse. I don't really care about the gold per turn as much as I do upgrading my troops. I'm doing a lot of pillaging right now, and pillaging gets you a lot more gold a lot faster than having to worry about anything else like that. Also just going to pick up a military engineer in Toulouse really quickly so that I can rush this canal. My navy is very much stuck behind a wall and I need to free them up. This is the last French city. We knocked them out of the game. Now, if you can give yourself a position where loyalty is what knocks, whoever out of the game, you actually don't get any grievances with the rest of the world. I think I managed to get into a situation where everyone was at war with France, so nobody actually cares about the fact that I've just knocked them out of the game. I will get basically 0 grievances as I go along. It is a strategy that is always worth keeping an eye on, though. I mentioned before, I am going to go for Yerevan. I want to take it over. It'll give me a good loyalty boost in this area, but it also might encourage out an emergency. And as discussed before, democracy time. Whilst we have the trade routes, I want to use them. It's always good to make friends, keep friends, and power up your capital into a 200 production behemoth so it can be producing everything we need it to for longer periods of the game. Whilst you have friends, always worth selling off your gold, and remember what I said about taking gold up front. You'd rather have it up front because it equals more bombers, and when people do inevitably declare war on you, you've got time. First railroad. It's not the first in the world though. Somebody else did this before me, and I approve of this. I reckon it'll be Cree, probably? Yeah, it was Cree. Look at that. Good on you. Now that my spy has left France, I'm going to find, again, one of the worst cities that I can find in Scythian lands. Is one population city will do. My spy will head over there, and when they're ready, will give me more diplomatic visibility, which will give me a combat bonus. I'm hoping this will be Yerevan taken over. It will be. Lovely. Go on, men. Go on, men, world. Bring me an emergency. You know you want to. Another Scythian city here as well. Some oil in this one. That's a great shout if I can pick that up. Oil gives you artillery, it gives you missile cruisers, it gives you rocket artillery. There's a lot of cool stuff. Here we go, a little bit less health now. I just needed to do a couple of attacks to encourage the liberation of it. But look, almost done. And with that, keep city, liberate Cree, 10 more turns of double production. My capital is now on 374. 374 production. I mean, honestly. Yeah, Australia's a really bad civ. It struggles a lot. Mongolia's doing a fantastic raiding job on Serbia from the other direction actually, which is cool. Scotland have just put a satellite into space. It's not a problem until they reach nanotech. Once you have nanotech, that's when you want to really start to worry about what an AI is doing. Because, and the reason for this, AI normally gets a little bit bugged. It will normally go down the top of the tech tree, or at least it will go to composites, and then it'll head over the top to go for robotics, and it'll beeline future tech. If it does that, it'll miss nanotech, and as long as future tech is an option, it'll keep picking it. And eventually it'll get nanotech, but often it gets stuck and it never puts the Mars project into space. So if you see a civ with nanotech unlocked, that's when you need to really worry. That's when they're getting crazy serious and you need to start to go, what do I do in this circumstance? Get the nukes is normally normally the correct answer in that circumstance. Oh, the production in my empire right now is crazy. And as things are getting fixed as well, we're picking up so many yields. One more Scythian city. It's got jade. It's got coal. Actually, jade was in the other city. But, I mean, honestly, it's not going to take us too long to go and get that one. We also have the canal finished, so our navy can finally come through into this second sea. So actually a really good thing, that one. Some battleships going as well, lovely. We've got a lot of gold to splash, and I've got a decent air force, so I'm just upgrading a couple of my boats. Another city down south, picking up more and more of this desert, and again, that is oil. I'm actually going to liberate this to Scotland. This renews my liberation counter and gives me more diplomatic favour. Don't worry, we can always take it back later. If you're playing Australia, you see a liberation, you go for it. There is no holding back. Military emergencies, betrayal emergencies. Oh, now that is an interesting one. A betrayal emergency is the only style of emergency that an ally can join in on. It might well be that all of my allies now will declare war on me. We will see. Mongolia declares war on me. Okay, well they're conveniently the next people we were going to fight anyway, so that works. It gives me another target. I lose quite a lot of gold per turn now that I'm not trading with them, but ultimately that we could get away with. Our alliance was actually about to expire in about 2 turns with them anyway. Now Mongolia have 2,000 strong military. It's mainly a land army, but they do have ironclads floating around, so we're just going to have to keep an eye on, where they are, what they're doing, how we can fight them. I have a huge navy that was just floating around by this free city, but it's not something I need to focus on massively. Just gonna slowly take my time and go from there. Now, a lot of my trade routes from my capital have all disconnected, but that again is fine. I can re-up them with my new, better allies. Lovely stuff. My capital again is doing nicely. One more city falls with Scythia. We've now actually taken over this entire chunk of the continent, which is great. And now our army is moving over to the new coast. Scotland will join in with my war against Mongolia. Cree won't at the moment, but it's fine. We will keep that one in mind. It's a bit of a mess. The world is a total mess. Everyone is at war with somebody and not others. I have basically been a terrible influence here. Time for suffrage. This makes my capital insanely powerful with +4 on food and production to trade routes. It'll only get better as well in due course. I'm going to give myself gunboat diplomacy to start to give myself even more envoys for later down the line. We'll need that. Force modernization is useful, but total war for the pillaging is better. Yields from pillaging outweigh all other yields. New Deal. This is the card. 2 amenities for all cities with at least 3 specialty districts. You can see that's 14 of my cities are going to be effectively given 10% more yields on everything. Makes a big difference. A really big difference. 5-year plan. Trade Confederation. Trade Confederation is probably not the best card. I could get Economic Union instead to give me more gold and more production from my shipyard. So we'll do that. Up to 455 gold per turn, and you can see Canberra, once it all sorts itself out, is suddenly now happier than it was, as well as being well housed. 455 production as well. It's not a bad capital. I'm going to beeline to professional sports to get stadiums, the Estadio, Aquatic Centre before going for conservation for aluminium and oil, because I still have spare aluminium. I'm building bombers at a rate of every 2 turns? No, 1 turn apparently. 560 production and 455 are coming out. That's almost 1 per turn. Yeah, but so far, so good. When you get to tier 3 government plazas, the best thing you can go for is the War Department. This is the best domination run ever, really. 20 hit points whenever you heal a unit. That's good for ranged attacks a lot. Things like field cannons, artillery can heal as they attack, bombers as well get that advantage. But more importantly, your melee units, if the AI charges units and suicides them into you, which they are, known to do quite frequently, you actually heal every time they do that. So it sort of ends up accidentally healing all of your units at the same time. It's very handy. I always find it relatively amusing when you use the unupgraded units to kill the upgraded ones, like this battleship is being hammered by frigates. I like that. It's cool. I'm also now just quickly and quietly getting all of my privateers in order to do some damage to the naval areas of the Mongolian Empire. Like this is pretty decent. Just slipping my units in, pillaging, running. It's all good fun. I've also got some more coal and just picking up all the resources that the AI is leaving for me. It's working well. So the digger can now attack this city, which luckily means that we have another source of coal. There are warrior monks, which are now dead, but you have to give Scythia credit for actually using warrior monks. Not often you see that. Also taking this city now at the same time, which is lovely to see. Oh no, Mongolia are now just destroying my privateers as if they were made of gravy. Gravy destruction. Well, we're getting some gold from them, and I can always build more. In fact, actually, I probably should build more. That's something I genuinely should do. Once I've got combined arms, that means I can get aircraft carriers, then I'll get electricity to get seaports, and then we need to go for jet bombers. Seaports let you build armadas from scratch, which is a really cool thing. I finally got my listening post in. That was 7 turns. We have taken over most of Scythia's nation in that time. Just shows you the speed that these things can happen. Professional sports and combined arms in the same turn. Okay, perfect. Right, my capital is just going to actually continue making bombers. It's doing that very well. I have 10 aluminium that are being worked at the moment, and that will only go up soon. I'm also now going to build myself the aircraft carriers. Every single city that makes one, I get 2 because of Venetian Arsenal. Now those will be able to transport my bombers across the sea and make sure that we can attack Mongolia from the other direction, which should be a bit of a laugh. Mongolia have a lot of tank armies. Oh, that's tough. They have insufficient oil though. Interesting. I wonder how much they actually do have in oil, and can we ruin it for them? Let's have a quick look. So it looks like Mongolia's oil is mostly at sea, but they do have a couple of districts on top of it. They haven't improved that oil. So they've only got 3 coming in per turn underneath this encampment. If I can pillage and wreck that encampment, that would give me some decent bonuses. Look at this pillaging, by the way. Oh, yes. Yes. So switching to conservation, I've pillaged about 8,000 gold. It's a lot of gold. It's very good indeed. The Estadio is still an option, so watch as my capital gets crazy. First of all, we buy a stadium, 1,630, easily done. We've gone from 1 immunity to 4 immunities. That's now plus 10% on all yields. The Estadio now gets put down as well. Just going to put this on the tile. It's a 4-turn build. I could wait for the mausoleum. In fact, do I want to do that? Adelaide might actually be a useful pickup for me in terms of getting, what's it called, Scott Amundsen, which would give me another bunch of science and production. So yeah, you know what, I am actually going to wait until the mausoleum kicks out, unless there's another engineer coming up better. No, doesn't look like there is. So actually I'm just going to hard build this one. Why not? I've got 533 production. What else am I going to do with it? But the rest of my, well, in that case, actually, if I'm not rushing it, yeah, the rest of my gold I'm going to use on fun things, like an aquatic centre. Boom. Now this makes sure that all of my cities in this range are now ecstatically happy. 7. If I make sure this one's done, that's an 8. Hobart is an 8. We've got Brisbane, 7. We've got this city, 7 as well. Melbourne, plus 4. Oh, you see, that could get better. So we'll buy another aquatic centre in this city. You know what? This is brilliant. Okay, the tanks are swarming my digger units. Oh, they did get a kill. Got to be a little bit careful. I need to probably produce more of these units if they're going to get surrounded like that. Don't forget though, this is what I said at the beginning. Air Force beats Land Army every single time. And this is true. It remains true. It will be true for the rest of this particular game. Because it doesn't matter how powerful those tanks are, with enough applications of Le Bomber, we will end up taking that city. Now I'm just going to quickly double up with taking this city into the north, which is now done. Nice 10-pop city. Look at that, lovely. Loyalty-wise, 5-turn rebellion, so Victor, you need to come to the next area. You can see my tank is going to charge now. Ha ha ha! And I heal myself, of course, with the war department as well, which makes it even better. Electricity finished. Brilliant. That's going to be good for my capital. And World's Fair, we didn't win it, but never mind. We've got a couple of civic boosts. Scotland is going to the moon, but not to Mars. So that's fine in itself. Eisenhower, good general. Keeping an eye out for Roebling. He would be awesome because I can use him to give myself amenities and housing in my capital just to continue the incessant growth of this powerhouse. I'm also just about to lose my liberation bonus. I've been saving Dundee over on the corner of my continent for a little while now, but the time has finally come to attack it and to save it, charging in, not on undead unicorns, but on cavalry this time. I'm going to liberate the city, give myself even more favour, and renew the 10-turn bonus. Just built seaports in these two cities, so what you can do then is change your aircraft carrier production into an armada, and it'll just pop all of that production into the finished product for you so you don't lose anything. Very nice indeed. I believe the digger can now go and take the Scythian capital, so it can. Very good indeed. I've still got tanks. You can see the Mongolian tanks are still lurking. Got to be a bit careful. I don't want to find myself tripped up by one of those units. But my bombers, I've got so many bombers I can barely get them onto the front line. That's the amusing thing. I need to start getting some military engineers bought in these perimeter cities, purely so I can put airfields down. Some more things to vote on. I would love it if I could produce units twice as quickly because I'm building far more. I'd love it if I can culture bomb, and I would like it if Scythia, weirdly, have the diplomacy points because, well, they're going to get killed very soon. Yep, it all worked. Apart from gold. Actually, gold to produce units. Interesting. Okay, we can take that. That's fine. Here is the Estadio. One of the best wonders in the game, if not the best wonder in the game. Those +2 immunities in all of your cities is a huge deal. It's 10% roughly of every guild in every city, as well as extra loyalty. And on top of that, +6 culture in every city as well. It makes your culture game massive. Oh, massive when you're taking things over. Now, conservation has just given me the resource management card. I don't have much. Oh, I've got a lot of oil, but I haven't got a lot of aluminium left. So that would be a cool use of it. Although Total War has given me quite a lot at the moment. I can probably get rid of Economic Union and put resource management in at this point. That's nice. I've got 11 turns left of my alliance with the Cree, and then 2 turns left with Scotland. I think I might hazard a renewal of both alliances. You kind of want to keep an eye on when you think the AI is going to win, and I think at the moment they're unlikely to win in the next 30 turns or so, roughly. Also, am I realistically going to be done with Mongolia by that time? To be fair, I do want to attack Scotland next, so yeah, I might let my alliance with Scotland run out. That's probably the play here. You can see as well, we're almost at stealth tech. Almost. It's looking good. Now, people who've been watching this channel for a long time will know that I always complain about the fact that I don't get given strategic resources. Check out this game. There are 7 resources of uranium on this map. 1 underneath an encampment in Scotland. I own this one. 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 And I own this one. I have almost a total monopoly on uranium. It's not your uranium, it's my uranium. Or you could even say, my uranium. It's a very forced joke. I mean, this one is underwater. I hate to think what that's doing to the radiation in the local waterways, and these fish I'm pretty sure are going to have about 7 eyes on each one. In fact, look at the symbol. That's definitely one angry radioactive fish. That's, yeah, monster fish on the way. Oh my goodness, imagine monster fish as a unit in Civ. Oh, that's almost too good an option. Anyway, military engineers. I'm just going to plop down a lovely airstrip on a different continent, you'll find. Actually, no, I've gone back onto my continent, haven't I? Yes, this is Siberia. How boring. But putting that there means I can take my 3 furthest bombers on the edge of my empire. Dying, withering away, nothing to do, near anybody. I can put them right to the front where they can be ripe and lovely and perfect. Actually, we can predict how much damage we need to do to particular cities in order to take them. I think this city, needs 1 more bomber. So I shall give it 1 more bomber, like so, and bam, that's another city for me. Now, I'm pretty sure this Mongolian city belongs to Scythia, and again, we're playing as Australia. Remember, on any domination game, you want to make sure that Citadel of Civilization is firing off as often as you can get it. That's why we were talking about emergencies before, and why having Mongolia declare war on me was a good thing. What I'm going to do is knock Scythia out of the game. Once they're out of the game, I am no longer at war with them. Then, I will take this city, I will liberate it, and therefore trigger the 10 turns again. All for double production. It's worth it. When your capital's got 580 production, it's worth it. I just went back and picked up Reformed Church because now, and there's no point having Total War because all of my raiding units are now dead. Now I can get Wars of Religion. Now Wars of Religion will give me a +4 combat bonus to anybody that follows a different religion to me. I follow my own religion. I'm my own man. Maybe. It's very close to not following my own religion, I won't lie. So I should probably go back and deal with that. But as long as people follow different religions, like Mongolia, Scythia, Scotland, they all follow different ones to me, I get a +4 combat bonus against them. And that's against cities, it's against units, it's against absolutely everything that isn't religious in nature. Mongolia, get those cavalry away from me. What are you doing? No, 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 no. Let's bomb the cavalry with artillery and then dig them. Hopefully with this, that is the second to last city, no, third to last city done, because I remember I've got my spy in this one. Yeah, we're getting that. We are getting there now, pulling my bombers through to the front line as well. I have one more charge of the... Oh no, sorry, that was the military engineer. It died. It got killed. That's why the cavalry was there. Mongolia was like, oh, Ursa's building... Actually, that was actually a really good move. They saw the fact that I were putting planes down and they were like, nope, can't allow this. Need to go and attack it. That's probably the cleverest thing I've seen the AI do all game. Yeah, they lost to cavalry, but they stopped me putting another airfield down, and that actually probably has bought them time. Yeah, to be fair, I'm impressed with that. Well done, AI. Good move. I mean, you feel like they probably stumbled into the move, but it's still a pretty decent one. Yeah, credit where it's due. My first aircraft carriers have finished and they're both fleets. Now, what's the point in... Sorry, armadas, I should say. What's the point in building armadas over regular aircraft carriers? Well, they don't carry any more planes. They're just tougher. 82 strength as opposed to 65. It means a stiff breeze won't blow them over, which is kind of the risk of regular ones. So, yeah. It's probably... I mean, I build them because I like to have a sturdier unit, but honestly, I could get convinced either way. Just hitting the Inquisition now. I think I should be able to buy some lovely Inquisitors. I'm just checking to see if I've got a holy site on the front line that has my religion, but nope, I do not. I need to start spreading this now. So Inquisitor, I think it should be... Oh yes, it's 5 charges. I was like 4 with Mosque, but of course I have taken the Hagia Sophia, so that's now going to be a bit better. Second to last Scythian city. This time it definitely is. Lovely stuff. That leaves me one more city. It's going to fall to loyalty, but I can't afford to wait quite that long, so we'll sort of move that through. Don't need to particularly wait for it to fall though, because I've got other targets. We're going to start to bomb now. This Mongolian city, as soon as I've got the range to do it. This one doesn't have the range, unfortunately, but I've got other bombers that do. Oh yes, here we go. Mongolia have so much more strength. We're attacking with 114 power, and alas, barely scratching it. Fascism will help. Jap bombers will help as well. That'll give us from 114 to 129 strength. Much better. They have steel walls. Helps as well. You should always keep an eye on how long alliances are going to last. Scotland expires in 0 turns. We're going to absolutely go for Scotland in a second. Scotland want a bit of oil. It's worth getting the gold from them now before we go to war. Anything they've got will do me a lot. It'll do me a lot more. I think a city-state just declared on me. I am no longer suzerain of Zanzibar. Zanzibar! I like Zanzibar. It gives me so many immunities. Please come back. Yeah, I don't want you to be at war with me either. That sounds terrible. Let's pick up Buenos Aires again. That gives me more resources. In fact, actually, look, I've got 11 ecstatic and 20 happy. With these 2 city-states flipping to me, I go to 26 happy. So all of the content go to happy. It's not bad, really. And with this final hit, brave Scotland. No, Scythia is knocked out of the game. Scotland, oh, that's a Freudian slip. Scotland, ignore I said that. I'm definitely not attacking you. No. Ooh, awkward. 4 techs away from stealth tech now. Excellent. If we can see any plundering that'll give us a bit of science, we'll take it. But otherwise, 4 techs, and pretty much we'll have everything we need to finish this game. After that, I'm going to go for Manhattan Project. Do you remember I said right at the beginning that nukes beat Air Force? I'll show you why in a second. Actually, we'll go computers first, because the world is flooding fast and I do need to actually put up some walls in my important cities, like my capital. Everywhere else I really don't care for. This city has now taken, I think, about 10 bomber strikes, and it's barely moving. Oh, it's tough. It's really tough. I win an emergency! Yay! Yay for me! And war and peace! Feels like a very valid description of how this game has been going. Now, my traders are still coming in and out of my capital. You can see Kree's cities are beginning to get very highly populated as well. That means because I'm sending them all the food routes, which is good. But the Kree aren't going to space. They're not winning culture. They're nowhere near getting a diplomatic victory just yet. We have time. It is just all about taking these moves slowly and steadily. to methodically make sure that we are taking these cities over. I believe I can shunt Mongolia out of this city now. Perfect, and I believe I can liberate it to Scythia. So this will put Scythia back into the game. It will give me 300 diplomatic favour, but it'll also reset the 10-turn count. Now, yes, I am very lucky. Scythia can't hold on to this city because Scythia is losing loyalty to Mongolia, which is quite cool. So for us, that'll work. They'll end up losing the city, and then we can end up taking it back shortly. Unfortunately, if I was playing a longer game, this would have been a bad move because Scythia is now back in the game with 800 grievances against me, and they're going to be telling everybody just how much they dislike. Well, everything that I do, everything that I represent is a bad deal for them right now. Robert the Bruce does not have nanotech. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait 4 turns. 4 turns puts me in a golden age. I can go for a golden age war, which means that I can get basically no grievances in my war against Scotland. It also gives me time to upgrade to jet bombers. So all of these little additional pieces of time should come nicely for me. Oh, look at that, by the way. My cities are now fully happy. Yay! That's actually really handy. So every single one of my cities is now ecstatic. That means loyalty-wise, I'm getting a beautiful +6. Makes a big difference to keeping cities or not. And it also means that I'm getting a full 20% production bonus from all of the production. Actually, pretty much everything I think it gives. It gives food 20%, production 20%, gold 20%, science 20%, culture, and faith. Really, really important that you keep those modifiers going. Now, some of you will have noticed the distinct lack of railways in this game, and the problem is coal. At the moment, I'm burning all of the coal through units and power, so there's very little I can do. Still though, it's not too bad. Selkirk, right, this is the city to send my spy to for Scotland, and I can actually start to send one now to Mongolia as well. Thinking about it, it's probably going to be the best thing to do. Pingala at this point is helpful, but I don't need to keep him as a priority. I'd rather get the diplomatic visibility with Mongolia. So, over to this city we go, and it should be fine. Still selling all of my diplomatic favour to the Cree, although I probably should keep some of it to be able to vote down on them. How many turns have I got? 24 turns. You know what? It probably is okay. But at this stage, I think, yeah, I'm going to keep it. Actually, no, 20 turns. I'm going to lose it all in 20 turns. There's no point keeping it. So I might as well say that, spend it. Save it, spend it. Spend it, save it. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. In your big cities, you want to have at least one neighbourhood. Now, not only do neighbourhoods give you a lot of extra housing, but you can put a food market or a shopping mall in. Of those 2 buildings, the shopping mall is the best. Not because of the tourism or because of the gold that it produces, but because of the amenities from entertainment that it gives you. +2. That supports 4 population on top of an otherwise huge city. So if I get this now, you'll see that I go back up to 7 amenities, but Canberra is never going to stop growing. I need it to be as big as possible. It's generally going to be my big awesome city for things like, well, Manhattan Project. That's the big one that I'm kind of pulling towards at the moment. And finally, a very special shout out goes to Glorious Petra, Salty Tech, Matthew Wilkinson, Paul Coffey, Doughboy91, Scott Stratton, Major King Kong, Davalex, Skeptical Bear, Kroger Brand Trail Mix, Alex Noob, Cinnamon Beard, Portland, Petra Ryan, Matthew Hatch, Emir EC, Henry, Rom88, Radiatore, and Private Selection Genoa Salami for all of your support, as well as everybody that leaves comments and interacts with the channel generally. Thank you so much. See you all next time.